Mother of God.
Super Troopers, released in 2001, stands as a defining relic of early 2000s indie comedy. Its unlikely cult status was never foreseen by studio executives or even its own creators. The rowdy adventures of Vermont State Troopers become both legend and punchline, but the film's journey from page to screen is filled with behind-the-scenes oddities, risky choices, and staggering trivia. The film began its life with humble origins. Few believed in its box office prospects, let alone imagined it would capture an audience for generations. The movie is remembered for its absurd gags, such as the infamous maple syrup chugging contest and the Meow game. But many of the most fascinating stories happened out of sight long before a single ticket was sold. The script alone underwent more than 20 drafts as the creative minds behind the film, the comedy group Broken Lizard, sought to saturate every page with jokes, making it their mission to elicit a laugh every 6 seconds. Each rewrite brought in tighter jokes and more complex comedic rhythm, with early versions being loose explorations of prank-loving cops and later edits evolving into a relentless sequence of gags. Broken Lizard's commitment to creative control extended well beyond punchlines. Early interest from Miramax and other studios came loaded with caveats. At one point, a studio even proposed casting Ben Affleck in a central role, so long as the group surrendered creative and directorial duties. The creators would not relent. For them, the point wasn't fame. It was about making a movie that truly reflected their sensibilities. A brand of humor that felt absurd, personal, and almost homemade. Financing Super Troopers wasn't just an uphill climb, it was a leap into the unknown. In the end, the project's full budget of $1.25 million was supplied by a single, recently retired Wall Street professional who wanted a taste of the movie business. After reading the script and watching Broken Lizard's first feature, he wrote the check. That faith was rewarded when the film's cult fan base ensured his investment was paid back in full. The cast itself contains surprises for even the film's biggest fans. Legendary actor Brian Cox, known for serious and often villainous roles, begged to join the production. After years lost in drama, Nazi generals, and criminal masterminds, he craved a chance to play in the world of absurdity. His persistence landed him the indelible role of Captain O'Hagan, a performance later recognized for its comedic brilliance and its power to reshape Cox's Hollywood trajectory. Unusual audition stories abound from cast selection. Marissa Coughlin landed the role of Ursula not simply for reading lines, but for her outrageous impression of Linda Blair's possessed Exorcist voice. Her willingness to commit to something so bizarre in the moment instantly convinced Broken Lizard she was a perfect counterpoint for their mayhem. Most extras on set were friends, classmates, and alumni from Colgate University, which all 5 Broken Lizard members attended. This gave the movie a homemade sense of authenticity and camaraderie. Almost everyone on screen was an extension of their college family. Art imitated life with the script's most infamous scenes. The movie begins with a group of college kids forced to eat their stash during a traffic stop, a sequence lifted almost directly from a real incident experienced by friends of the creators while crossing the US-Canada border. One friend consumed enough mushrooms for 10 people and hallucinated for nearly 2 days. The truth in this case was even wilder than fiction. The creators' families became unwitting actors and inspirations. Kevin Heffernan's parents agreed to appear in a scene without being told their son would spend hours on camera repeatedly hurling insults at them, a small sacrifice for cinematic history. Jay Chandrasekhar gave his character the middle name Arcot after his own father, weaving personal nods into the tapestry of the film. Production wasn't always confined to the boundaries of legality. At times, real laws were bent in the name of movie magic. When production assistants found themselves unable to stop traffic for a scene, Kevin Heffernan impersonated an actual officer to clear the road. Steve Lemmy briefly flashed his lights at a reckless driver off the clock, only to be let off because his uniform was, to his surprise, all too convincing. Encounters like these border on criminal, but for most of the cast, they are the kinds of stories that only deepened the mythos of the project. Certain iconic moments, like the syrup chugging contest, derive their status from the cast's dedication to authenticity. Initial takes used iced tea in syrup bottles, but the look and glug didn't convince on camera. Real syrup replaced the prop. The actors' faces twisted into genuine discomfort as they downed the viscous liquid, turning a gag into a gut-churning spectacle. Another beloved scene is the brief yet brilliant appearance of Jim Gaffigan as a befuddled driver during the Meow game. Kevin Heffernan initially didn't want Gaffigan for the role, doubting that his comedic style would mesh with the movie's tone. Jay Chandrasekhar insisted. Gaffigan's deadpan, confused delivery made the scene unforgettable. Rather than becoming heroes, are fired and end up slinging burgers in matching uniforms. These outtakes reveal the group's willingness to embrace bleak, dark humor, but audience feedback steered them back toward the more triumphant finale. Other speculative changes include the vision for a sequel set in the 1970s, tentatively titled Super Troopers 76, which never came to fruition. Instead, fans eventually funded a direct sequel more than a decade later through a record-setting crowdsourcing campaign. The film's title wasn't the product of a marketing strategist or a late-night brainstorming session among comedy writers. It was, remarkably, a casual suggestion from one of the creator's mothers. The simple phrase, Super Troopers, instantly felt right for the over-the-top world the group wanted to build. Long before Super Troopers became a film, it was nearly envisioned as a television series. The group considered making it a raucous weekly buddy cop show before deciding the idea would be stronger as a movie, despite the difficulties of funding and distribution. This risky decision ultimately paid enormous dividends, launching the group's movie careers and allowing them to indulge in their comedic instincts without the restrictions of TV scheduling and content guidelines. For Brian Cox, the film was more than a lark. It was a turning point. Playing Captain O'Hagan freed him from the shackles of typecasting in serious or sinister roles, letting him reveal a comedic sensibility most never expected. Audiences and critics appreciated his ability to pivot from Shakespearean drama to slapstick hilarity, and the role helped reframe his career. Personal Easter eggs are hidden throughout Super Troopers, from the origins of character names to background details. Ursula Hanson wasn't a name picked at random, it was in homage to a college buddy. Such tributes are reminders that for Broken Lizard, the film remained deeply personal, full of inside jokes and fond memories committed to celluloid. One of the most surprising aspects is the movie's reception among actual police officers. Despite its lampooning of law enforcement and penchant for juvenile pranks, real-life cops flocked to screenings. Many officers later admitted to playing their own versions of the Meow game during traffic stops, and the cast enjoyed hearing how the film had become a favorite among the very people they parodied. The approval of law enforcement gave the crew unexpected validation. What could have been perceived as a mockery was instead embraced as a kind of affectionate exaggeration. On-set accidents and miscommunications added to the lore. During a scene in which Brian Cox's character bites into a bar of soap, the prop was actually white chocolate. Unbeknownst to the crew, Cox is diabetic and was infuriated when he realized the bar wasn't sugar-free. The team scrambled to obtain a substitute, reminding everyone that even seemingly minor details can have significant consequences in filmmaking. Collectively, these stories illuminate why Super Troopers became more than a movie. It became a cultural touchstone. Its jumble of heartfelt, homemade comedy, dangerous improvisation, and unwavering dedication to craft gave it a wild authenticity. The film's success wasn't the product of massive budgets or box office calculations, but of stubborn creative vision and the refusal to let go of what made the creators laugh. Even after the cameras stopped rolling, the influence of Super Troopers has never vanished. It continues to be quoted, imitated, and beloved, not just by fans and filmgoers, but by the people who inspired its stories. Its legacy is a testament to how a group of friends, armed with inside jokes, familial support, a single adventurous investor, and an ironclad commitment to their comedic ideals, created something that stands the test of time, something more than the sum of its gags, outtakes, or even its syrup-chugging scenes. In retrospect, it's clear the path to cult status was as unpredictable and riotous as the movie itself. Every twist, from alternate endings to casting serendipity, propelled Super Troopers toward its place in comedy history. The film's legacy endures not just through nostalgia, but through the laughter it continues to summon, proving that sometimes the happiest endings are the least expected.